Hey guys, today what I want to talk about is really preparing yourself for this coming recession. So, a lot of times what I'm starting to see nowadays is that for the last probably like 10, 15 years since the 2008 kind of, recession slash depression kind of thing, people got very, very, very comfortable. Now, this time around, we kind of had a more of a hidden recession that's been going on for a lot of people. And in times past, accountants have always been a little bit like recession proof because of the fact that when things get bad, people need to know their numbers, right? So whether it's like accounting, bookkeeping, et cetera, like in corporate America, the companies needed to know their numbers. But nowadays, during this recession, you're also facing a hidden enemy that no one really thinks about, no one really talks about. Number one, it's a younger workforce. Number two, it's also AI. So there's going to be a younger person that's also doing AI to handle most people's jobs. Like if you're a CFO level, director of finance level, okay, I'll admit you're probably not going to get replaced by AI or different people like that. But if you're anything below that, you're generally going to be really facing a battle of people where even if they can't have someone do the job, they don't mind, laying you off for being redundant, right, or obsolete, to see if they can go for 3, 5, 6 months to see if they can replace you. So they'll fire, then replace, fire, then replace. And it's not that they're like bad people, it's just when budgets get a little bit tight and they think there's some sort of silver lining on the horizon, they're going to go there. So I'm not trying to be like doom and gloom, it's just I've just seen so many people on consultation calls where it's like, I lost my job, or my husband lost a job, or this thing lost a job, and it's like, or I had a good job, I was laid off like 2 years ago, and now I'm rebuilding. Like, it's like there's so many things like that where people were making very good incomes, making 120, 130,000 a year, but as soon as like maybe they had like just a brief pause in their work history or their career, now their savings basically go back down to zero. And it's like in America right now, they make it very hard for most people to have any kind of like big savings. And then during a recession, when inflation starts going up, it kind of eats away at the residual savings you have. So in the next coming months, years, decades, they talk about like the shrinking of the middle class. I really think that at this time period that's going on, that is becoming more and more true. And it's very easy for people, like maybe you're like, 55, 60, like, well, they've been talking about it for like the last like 20, 30 years. Yeah, they've been talking about it, but it's not like just because they were talking about it and you didn't see anything very, very drastic happen, it doesn't mean that it wasn't happening very slowly. It's only now that people are really starting to experience the effects of that that are kind of coming on. So how do we start protecting ourselves? I know that's gloom and doom and it's like sad. Okay, number one, you need to have cash flow. So you need to have at least 2 to 3 sources of cash flow. Now that can be your job, and it can also be like accounting or bookkeeping business or some kind of business. Now, the reason why I say that, like why is cash flow, right? Because it's not about how much cash you have in the bank. That is going to be static. As soon as, like, maybe if you lose a job or you get sick or something, that cash in the bank goes down very, 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 very quickly. I've seen it myself. When I was just graduating from high school, my mom lost her job. She had over I think it was like 150, 200K in the bank. By the end of about a year and a half, that was basically down to $50,000 left. It goes by very, very quickly. So to combat that, you need to have cash flow. Now, most businesses, like an accounting or bookkeeping business, is going to provide you with very, very, very good cash flow. Now, in the beginning, you don't really need to spend that much time. You could spend, we'll say, about 10 hours a month, right? 10 hours a month to get an extra $1,000, an extra $2,000. Let's say something like that. $2,000 should be like a really simple goal. You start putting that away in the bank. You start having that like make more money. You start just having that just be consistent. And therefore, if you ever were to like lose your job, you'd at least have $1,000 or $2,000 a month coming in. Now, ideally, what you would do is while you're still working your regular job, you would try and get this business to be about $3,000 to $4,000 a month. The reason why is because most people's bills in the United States are between about $4,000 to about $8,000 a month. So if you're at least at $4,000, you're within striking distance of maybe like 2, maybe 3 clients to be able to fully support your expenses, right? So my thought process is always like you want the business to kind of be there in reserve, and like maybe you don't go full force into it. Maybe you don't like put all of your efforts into it. Okay, cool, but you can still get an extra 2, 3 grand a month without necessarily giving a full-time effort if you know what to do. right? If you understand to price out your service correctly, so like each client can pay you $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 a month, okay, that doesn't take that much time to go get those clients. If you understand marketing, to be able to get in front of those right people. I was just speaking to a guy. I'm going to actually have his video on the channel. Give me 1 second. Let me blow my nose off camera. Sorry about that. I was speaking to a guy who's been basically been trying to grow his business for a number of years, just kind of like off and on, and like he is spending like $765 a month on his business, just random business expenses, and he has like an office, and he doesn't have any clients. Wait, you've been in business for like 3 or 4 years, you have like 0 clients. It's like, it's not because he wasn't trying, it's just that the methodologies he was using just weren't working. Like, you can't rely on word of mouth, you can't rely on referrals and stuff like that. You have to make sure you have a marketing system that is generating leads for you. And ideally, if that marketing system can generate leads in 2 different ways. Number 1, leads while you're sleeping. That means it's automatically moving even when you're sleeping. And number 2, it can be leads from someone else, right? So if I can have an automated machine that's constantly going out and getting leads and getting opportunities for me, and if I can have referral partners that are constantly sending me leads, as their business grows, they send me more and more interested parties, that is something that is just like, it's so killer that it just makes everything so much easier for you to grow and for you to go and like move quickly, right? But it's really about, while things are going good, you start building this stuff up in reserve. And like, you know, it's easy for me to say, like, because it's like, yeah, I already have this stuff, but that's kind of the point, right? It's like, I built this to be as recession proof as possible. So I have the accounting firm, and I also have the coaching business, right? So those are 2 streams. What I talked about earlier, you always want to have at least 2 streams of income or cash flow coming in, so that, let's say if something happened and you lost all of your clients in one day, you still have something else that's kind of going. You could have in accounting and bookkeeping be like, one is going to be like your bookkeeping services, others going to be like tax planning services, or maybe bookkeeping services and then notary services, whatever the case might be. But having some form of way to get multiple clients within each business, and then maybe having 1 to 2 different businesses. Maybe you don't want to have a second business. Maybe you want yours to be real estate. Doesn't really matter, but have something just kind of there for when times get tough. Because it's not if times are going to get tough in life, it's when, right? Everybody's going to have a time, whether it's like, you know, when you're in your 30s and you're trying to establish yourself, or maybe you're in like you're 45 and like maybe you lose your job. Like, everyone's going to have a time to kind of test them, and it's going to test your preparation. If you are prepared, you're going to come out even better than what you were before. If you're not, it's going to be very painful, and it's going to cause you to have to keep like trying to go in like these different circles for the next like 5-10 years. Like, the amount of people I speak to who are interested like in our coaching consulting program, where it's like maybe like they're still trying to recover from either like a bankruptcy, or maybe they lost their job for like 2 years and like just tore up their savings, or just random things. Like, maybe they bought like an RV and now like they have like $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 worth of debt and they're still recovering from. Like, it's happened so much. So like, if you're watching these videos, it's like, and you have the ability to kind of save yourself before you get into trouble, I would just encourage you to try it at all costs to go. Because it's a lot easier to go through life if you don't make mistakes. You know what I mean? Than if you make a giant mistake and you have to kind of spend the next 10, 20 years cleaning that mistake up. So I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, or I'm not trying to dissuade you from anything in life, but I'm just saying, like, if your life is easy, make sure it stays easy. Don't just kind of like YOLO and just be like, you know, just because things are good, I'm great, I'm impenetrable, I'm invulnerable, nothing bad can happen to me. Like, prepare so that you can always come out on top, okay? So if you want some help going and like doing this, if you want some help growing your business, and like maybe you've been trying to start a bookkeeping business, but it's just not quite going the way that you wanted to go, but you felt that if you had like some, you know, better skills, some better resources, and someone that could help you along the way to avoid these mistakes, go ahead and click on the link inside the description, either above or below the video, to book a call with myself to see if I can help you inside of our mentorship program. We basically take you by the hand, guide you step by step, and make sure you know exactly what you need to do to go and reach your goals in the shortest period of time possible. If that's something that you want to learn more about, go ahead and click the link inside the description, book the call. We'll see you on the other side. I can't wait to see if we can help you inside of our program. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great rest of your day. Take it easy.